Hello everyone, I'm John, this is Sean,
Alright.
and this is Everyday Food Reviews, and today we have Adrenalize.
Yep. So Adrenalize is a energy formula. We talked about it before in a couple of shorts and in month in review. Tim at Adrenalize reached out to us a while ago on Twitter, and he offered to send entire tubs for us to do a video on. But he said, I won't send you sachets, I'll send you whole tubs, and then you can have a proper go at the tubs and then do a proper review. I was like, that sounds good to me. I don't know when we'll get round to it, if that's the case, because we can't just do it a spur of the moment sort of thing. And he said, that's fine. And then, by the time we were...
Was it January this year, I think he messaged us?
Oh no, it was longer ago than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it was longer ago.
Oh, okay. But things have come up anyway as well.
Yeah, so obviously we haven't been able to meet to do videos like this. But he sent us these tubs that are very, very different to what's now on the website. And I messaged him, I said, we've still not got around to do... We haven't forgotten, we've been drinking it, we'll get around to it. But he said, oh, no, we're revamping the whole range and doing all new flavours with an improved formula anyway.
Which we were glad about.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'd let him know that we tried it and we found the flavours to be very weak in the old formula.
We're talking Volvic flavoured water.
Yeah, which is fine. Some people prefer that, and he did say that's what he was going for, was a flavoured water sort of. So in that regard, 10 out of 10, because that's what it tasted like.
Yeah, it was pretty bang on. However, to compete with the likes of, looking at UK companies, Sneak, Wraith, Beyond...
That's if your goal is to compete rather than to do something different.
True, very true.
But yeah, most people are going to prefer strong flavours, in my experience. I'm biased because I prefer very, very strong flavours.
Yeah.
But anyway, he asked me which tubs we wanted from the new range. So I gave him a couple of flavours, and he said, I was going to send 4, so you'd have 2 each. Which other 2 do you want? So he sent us 4 tubs. So what we've done is had 1 tub each.
Yeah.
Over the last few months, because there's 60 servings in a tub.
Yeah.
And we drink a lot of other energy drinks, so it wasn't... I mean, it would have been possible, but it would have been like a commitment to just... Especially with doing other energy drink videos in the meantime. It would have been a commitment to only drink this. So we've had one of those, and then these are still sealed, and we're going to do these on the video today. So John had a flavour called White Noise.
Yep, which was strawberry and lime.
Yeah. And I had one called Cosmic Bloodthirst that was a raspberry sort of flavour.
Okay.
And I found it to be still not as strong as I would generally prefer something to be. However, a massive improvement on the old ones that we had.
Definitely.
But it still maintains a sort of flavour leaning towards flavoured water, but you can put a bit less water in and have something that's more like the energy drinks you'll be used to. Whereas the other one, you'd be mixing it in a shot glass to have something that tasted more like what you'd want. So we're going to try both of these today, Warp Speed Watermelon and...
Mangolorian.
Yeah. So we're guessing this is a watermelon flavour and that's a mango flavour. So these tubs, by the way, £25. Scoop is 5 grams. There's 60 servings in a tub, so what's that, 300 grams?
Yep.
So in terms of value, you can use EFR10 and get 10% off. So it's $22.50 a tub.
Yep.
For 60 servings. The only other people who do 60 servings are X-Gamer, which with EFR10 is going to be £27 a tub, and X-Gamer is coming from Europe and is about £8 postage if you want just 1 tub. I'll need to double check what Tim's postage is, but I can say with certainty that it won't be £8.
No.
I doubt very much it'll be £8.
No. Top of your head, you're probably looking at £2-3 maybe.
Depending on the courier, it could be 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But it won't be 8. I think that Sneak, their cheapest postage option is £4, and that's coming from Manchester. That's coming from down the road.
Yeah.
Now, I know that's not how postage works, and it's going to be the same regardless across the country, but it still stings.
Yeah, it does.
when you're paying that for postage, and you think, if they'd let me pick it up, I'd pick it up for 50p.
Yeah.
This is coming from Hampshire, so it feels a bit more like it's done a bit of a journey. So it's a very fine powder, and we've got these little blue scoops. Have you got a scoop?
Probably somewhere. It's probably just getting buried in it.
Do you want me to try and dig it out with this one?
Go on. There it is.
Yeah, I normally do this down in the kitchen, and I just use a fork to get the scoops out.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome. So I'll mix these up and try both of them. These have, it's a 5 gram scoop with 300 milligrams of caffeine. So,
in terms of caffeine amount, it's the biggest that we've had
yeah,
by far. Like this, this is American rain.
Raise, bang.
C4.
C4 is still 200.
Okay, but that's the kind of energy, caffeine levels you're expecting.
Yeah, so I do a very level scoop of this, and I just do one scoop. Sometimes with Sneak and G Fuel I'll double it, and that will get me to 300 milligrams, but with this, that's the other thing as well. It's not necessarily a negative, but it could be. Having so much caffeine in there is good. You've got 60 servings of 300 milligrams of caffeine, and if you don't want 300 milligrams, you can do half a scoop and have 120 servings. However, you do half a scoop, the flavour's even weaker. And
so what water have we got in here?
We've got 400 ml because that's our benchmark amount that we use. I've been drinking it with a
Although he does say 250 to 350.
Yeah, I have been doing it with a bit less, but we do this with...
I think I normally do about 250
Yeah.
to 300.
Yeah, with this I have been doing less, but in terms of the videos, regardless of what it says on the label, we always use 400. So obviously bear that in mind.
So how, while we're just shaking, bit of dead noise, how have you been feeling when you've been taking it?
To be honest, not a lot different to usual. However, I've been having one scoop of it.
Okay.
And other things I'll have 2 scoops of. If I want to get to where I want to be, I'll have a small can of energy drink and a G Fuel, or 2 scoops of Sneak, or a big can of Monster and half a scoop of Sneak, or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's, in terms of the effect it has on me, I would say it's about the same, but I'm comparing that to the combined effect of 2 other things.
Now, I don't drink as much caffeine as you.
No.
I'm usually... I've spoke about this before in previous videos.
Do you want to give me that one?
You can do,
Yeah.
I'm usually down to... Well, I'm at like a 1 can of Monster a day, kind of thing. Maybe the occasional coffee, or a Lucozade, or even a Mountain Dew. Just to top me off if I'm struggling. Long shifts, do that to you. But then I've been having this pretty much before I go to the gym.
Yeah.
And I felt good. Especially sometimes long shifts, 4-day weeks, 10-hour shifts.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
300 milligram of caffeine is, especially considering I'm on maybe 160 ml to 200 a day. Oh, obviously I drink rain as well, yeah. So sometimes, usually between 160 to 200 milligrams of caffeine a day. That's what my intake is. So, and if I'm going to the gym,
probably about double that usually.
Yeah. So if I'm going to the gym, and I'll go to the gym most of the time, roughly 8 o'clock at night. I've had my caffeine roughly between 12 and 3 usually. I'm pretty tired. I want to lift some big weights. I want to perform well. I don't want to I don't want to fail on anything. So 300 milligrams is going to give me a massive pick-me-up. It's going to help me perform well. And I'll still, be able to tire myself out enough at the gym so it won't affect any of my sleeping pattern. Mm-hmm. And so it's been working well.
Yeah. I mean, 300 milligrams of caffeine is more of an amount you would expect to see in a pre-workout. They would generally have between 2 and 400 milligrams.
Well, some of our favourite pre-workouts was like 275 milligram.
Yeah.
Then we'd lift some big weights, and then I'd drive home, and then I'd like sleep very well.
Yeah, and the profile is pretty similar to a lot of other similar formula. We've got citrulline malate, 1200 milligrams, a gram of taurine, half gram of leucine, half gram of arginine, 300 milligrams of caffeine, and 125 milligrams of valine and isoleucine. I believe that's pretty standard. I'm not 100% sure on the amounts, but it does have half a gram of beta-alanine, which is more like what you would expect to see in a pre-workout. And you'll see the FAQ on the website. It says, can I use this as a pre-workout? Yes. And a lot of people have commented before on our videos and said, oh, why are they comparing these formula to pre-workout? I was talking to Tim on Twitter, and, you know, we were having a laugh about that, because he said, you know, it's the same thing. Most of these powder companies sell pre-workout and then just reskin it and sell it to gamers, and it's the exact same stuff.
Exactly. Because the whole point of it, you know, it's do you go to the gym and not focus like you focus on a game?
Yeah. I mean, there are different types of there's like very much pump focused pre-workouts.
Oh, of course.
That'll be like full of creatine and the like the nitrous oxide boosters and that sort of thing that aren't in the gaming drinks, but the sort of focused stim-based pre-workouts are pretty much the same, really.
That's what I mean. It's almost like a basis.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what can we put on the label to diversify it for gamers?
Yeah.
What can we put on the label to diversify it for gym goers?
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. This actually smells really, really good. I'm not normally a big fan of mango flavours, but this actually...
I am.
Yeah, this smells really good. Cheers.
Ooh. See, I think we've overdone it with the water straight away. We've used 400 ml, and I would reduce this right down to 250 to 3 straight away.
Okay, yeah. I actually really like it where it is, you know. Shall I tell you what, shall I put another half a scoop in here? And just don't fill the glass all the way.
You mean that one?
Well...
Oh, for that one!
Yeah, for when we get to this one. Just because, yeah, John's right, I should have done what it says on the tub and given it a fair shake, but I'm like I say, we just do 400.
I think because most of the time,
consistently.
G Fuel and Sneak, I think they actually say 400, something like 3 to 400.
Yeah.
I think, isn't it? So I think...
So we just...
Maybe going forward, it's something we need to look at. To decide, try and hit the middle. Whatever the tub says, go down the middle. So that says 250 to 350. 300 would have been good for that.
Yeah.
Down the middle. And then we can say to you either or.
Yeah.
Use more, use less.
Because this will put a little bit more in. And just try it at the higher amount. But as it is, I actually really like that. It is just like... If I was to pick up a Volvic mango flavoured water...
That's exactly how it would taste.
Yeah. That I'm really impressed with that, because the other ones, the original ones that we had, I felt as though the flavours, even in spite of aiming to be like flavoured water, they were kind of like weak flavoured water, but this is like...
Yeah, like I said, we were feeling really a bit awkward at first, because, you know, Tim, nice guy, getting in touch with us, wanting us to try his product, give it our honest opinion.
Because he's seen our videos, he knows that's what we do.
Yeah, and it was going to be hard to slate something so new when he's still working at it.
Yeah.
And it's horrible to consider that, isn't it?
Yeah. So we don't want to... We will always be honest, but we don't like being negative. Especially when it's like, you know, people who reach out and are nice people. But I've always said to you, if somebody reaches out to us and offers us something, I know they're confident in it. Because if they reach out to us after seeing our videos, they're going to expect honesty.
Yeah, that's getting there now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's more like drinking squash. It's see the raspberry one I enjoyed, but I still found it a bit weak.
You left the window open. That's going to be really loud.
Yeah. Yeah, the Kenny ice cream van. I think he's been featured in a few videos. It's probably like the EFR's third member at this point. I've never even met him. I don't have change in the house, do I? I assume he doesn't take card. I should go out and ask him one day.
Let's go now. Back now.
But yeah, I think this flavour lends itself a lot better to being a flavoured water sort of a flavour.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't. And yeah, you don't want something. Sometimes, right? And I don't want this to sound. What's the word? Almost disgusting in a way, but you know, if you have a drink like this, sometimes you don't want it to repeat on you. Well,
yeah,
and a lot of drinks do repeat on you, especially when you're working hard. You know, you're really trying to, I don't know, lift some heavy weights, or if you drank a lot of it quite quickly, and if it repeats on you, something that's really sour or acidic can taste really horrible.
I was going to say that's the problem I have with a lot of the flavours I enjoy, the really intense sour ones.
The sour ones.
It's the acid reflux.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas
that's not
I feel with Adrenalize, I feel it's a lot more flexible, that if you drink a lot of it or if it repeats on you, you're not going to have, it's not going to be that intense that it's going to make you feel horrible.
It doesn't taste like drinking an energy drink.
No, it doesn't.
Like in a good way. For me, most of the time I want it to taste like I'm drinking an energy drink, but I know a lot of people that's exactly what puts them off.
Yeah.
And they're not going to want that. And still, occasionally, you know, if I wake up sometimes, occasionally with heartburn, indigestion, acid reflux, but because of the nature of addiction, I still need caffeine to function for the day. I don't want a can of Monster because it's going to make my acid reflux worse, but I still need to get that caffeine in me. Adrenalize it's not a problem. One more thing I'd like to touch on once we've filled the glass with this.
And what was this one?
Watermelon warp speed watermelon. So didn't show it on the mango flavour.
Oh, how clear or unclear it is.
How completely that has dissolved. The only other thing we've had dissolve that completely has been X Gamer, which is also the only other thing in 60 serving tubs, incidentally. Also, the biggest problem with a lot of the X Gamer flavours we've had has been that they've been a bit weak, although X Gamer have been making their flavours stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
But this is a deliberate sort of stylistic choice in terms of the flavour intensity. Whereas I feel with X Gamer,
to be fair, like Tim said from day one, like I want more of a flavoured water, rather than that, because he like I say, he wants it to be more flexible. He wants people to go to the gym, and not end up wanting to bring it back because they've lifted too heavy weights or they've overdone themselves on leg day.
The thing I respect most about it, and from talking to Tim, is he's not like trying to pretend that it's anything else like other companies that say, oh, it's a gaming drink, use it for gaming and give you the edge. Like he's got on the website, you can use it as pre-workout, it's all the same stuff.
I mean, he calls it the ultimate gaming energy drink.
Yeah.
But then also on there, endurance, recovery. Who's recovering from a heavy session on Warzone? I'm not. You know?
Well, it depends what time you stay up to on Warzone.
Yeah, but recovery, it doesn't matter. If you're having this, it's not going to, potentially, you're not sleeping anyway.
Yeah.
So recovery, that says to me, it's more like how you feeling yourself the day after a gym sesh.
Yeah.
So, the first three, definitely nootropic, energy, and focus. Definitely three things that you can use for both gaming and the gym.
Yeah.
Recovery, I'd definitely say is more the gym. Endurance, both again.
Yeah.
So there you go. Right, let's try this watermelon.
Cheers. And compared to someone like, I don't know, name a company in the UK who makes powdered energy drinks with a terrible attitude towards marketing and absolute disdain for their customers. I don't know, if there was one, for example, maybe in Manchester, like, I would really appreciate Tim's attitude compared to them.
Yeah.
Just the the honesty about it. I mean, that I respond to that. It smells incredible, actually. It smells like watermelon, which is what I want from a watermelon flavoured drink. It feels like there's something missing. However, I think that's because I've been drinking Dub Melon Mint G Fuel. So it feels like there's mint missing.
Yeah.
Trying to remove Dub Melon Mint from the equation, this doesn't lend itself quite as well to being a flavoured water sort of a flavour as the mango one did.
No.
It is, however, still very nice, and it does still taste of watermelon.
Yeah.
But I would be inclined to try this with even less water again.
Yeah, definitely. And we haven't added that much more to the water itself.
We added about half a scoop, so that would mean that it's about the same as having sort of 300 ml of water-ish.
Yeah, again, it's one of those. This isn't the... I feel like with Adrenalize, it's not something that you can have a full shaker of and enjoy over time.
Because of the strength of the flavour.
For me personally, anyway, I want my strawberry and lime, I want my sweet watermelon, I want it, some of them 200 ml of water, 300 ml of water, I want to get it down my throat and I want to get into what I want to do.
Yeah, it's perfect for that because it dissolves perfectly, so you can mix it with just a bit of water and just neck it.
Yeah, well obviously if you're having 200 ml of water with powder, you're not just going to sip it over 3 hours because you're not going to get any of the benefit.
No. And
Whereas a 400 ml one, you might sip it over an hour, but you're only getting 150 to 160 milligrams of caffeine.
There's been, off the top of my head, Endless Nootropic. That is something that they marketed as a pre-workout and a gaming drink. However, that you make with 30 grams of powder, it barely dissolves at all, and I found the flavour to be so intense. It's a sour blue raspberry flavour, and I found it to be so intense that when I make that, I make it with about 800 ml of water. Who wants to smash 800 ml before you go and do the weights?
No.
You're just going to be sick. However, for sitting and gaming for 8 hours, if that was something I still did, it'd be fine because, 800 ml over 8 hours, I can tell myself this is healthy because it's helping me actually stay hydrated instead of just sitting here stewing in gamer juice. But this, I would say, because that it's a caveat, isn't it? It's one of those things. On the one hand, they're open and they say, yeah, you can use it as a pre-workout. On the other hand, it kind of, in a way, lends itself better to that because you can make it with so little water and just neck it. It's not something you'd necessarily want to have over a big endurance gaming session or something because you wouldn't have a big litre jug of it. And
no, because Tim recommends you don't exceed 2 scoops anyway.
Yeah.
In a day. It's, we don't really know anyone who needs that much caffeine. So...
Overall, I really like it, and I will probably...
It's good value as well.
The value is exceptional. The value is absolutely incredible.
So it's one of those, if you like us and you need a stronger, intense flavours, try it with less water. If it's too, if you prefer just a flavoured water and you want a full jug of it and you don't want 300 milligrams of caffeine in your system within 10 minutes, you can sip it and it can be as weak as anything and it could just be, like we say, a lightly flavoured water. I think that goes with, for most of the things with the energy formulas.
Yeah.
We're not telling you to use 400 ml, we're not using you to use 200 ml. Find what works for you.
Yeah. And it'll vary with flavour as well. Like I say, this one was, for me, that was fine before we even added extra powder. Whereas this one, we've added the extra scoop and it still tastes really weak. So it's going to vary by flavour.
And watermelon can be quite a weak flavour anyway.
Yeah. And again, that's not something that's even unique to Adrenalize. If you look at X Gamer and G Fuel, we found flavours that we don't even mix with water. We mix them with milk because that's the only way to enjoy them.
Yeah, exactly.
The G Fuel peach cobbler with water is revolting, but with milk, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So it's that, like saying, oh, the flavours aren't consistent in how much water. That's not a problem that's unique to Adrenalize. That's just flavours and personal preference.
Yeah.
Overall, I would certainly like to thank Tim. I'd say I hope he takes the feedback on board, but I don't think we've actually said anything that can be taken on board, because for what it is, it's fun, because what I would do
because what we do to improve it is to make it stronger.
Yeah, which is a personal preference thing,
which Tim doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
So in terms of what we want, he could do better.
Yeah.
In terms of what Tim wants, it's bang on.
Yeah,
and you can't say fairer than that.
Yeah, it's 10 out of 10 for what he said he wanted from it. The only thing I'd do is make the flavour stronger, but if I want a stronger flavour, I've got 10 other companies I can buy the drinks from that are going to be more expensive and have less caffeine. But if you don't want a stronger flavour, this is probably the first place I'd recommend. Also, they dissolve completely, and the only other one, I've always recommended X Gamer when people have said, I don't like the grittiness or chalkiness of the others. Now, I'll say Adrenalize or X Gamer. Adrenalize is cheaper, and the flavours are more like a more natural, more flavoured water or squash sort of flavour.
I have got one criticism that you could take on board.
Okay.
I would like to see Adrenalize, I don't know, halved. I would like to see a version at the same price point, or £1 or £2 less, with less caffeine. Because if this is your first foray into energy formulas, 300 milligrams of caffeine is intense. It's potentially intense for me sometimes.
Yeah.
For you, less so. If you don't buy a lot of these and you don't drink a lot of caffeine, and it's something you want to get into, and you think, do you know what? And you watch some of our videos, and you might think, value for money wise, that's really good. And if I waste it, I've only wasted 20 quid, not 40 quid, like from some other companies.
Yeah.
However, as I said, 300 milligrams is still a lot.
Yeah. I think that the best...
And you can't be having coffee on top of that, because,
You can be.
You can be, but you know it's not recommended to. For every coffee you're going to be having another 70 milligrams of caffeine. So if you're drinking a couple of coffees, then you say you're at a similar age to us or a bit younger, and you're working from home or in the office, you're going to be drinking cups of coffee. You go home, you jump on your Xbox or your PlayStation or your PC, bang, 300 milligrams of caffeine. It's not going to be that good for you.
No.
So I would really like to see Adrenal. I don't know if you can do something with a name.
I'm sure it would be possible. The thing is, I think on the one hand, that's what distinguishes it from some of the other brands. However, I would say, for me, more so than the caffeine is either a bonus or a massive hindrance, depending on which side of the camp you're on. But the distinguishing features for me, if you were to ask me to list them, would be the fact it dissolves completely, and the fact that the flavours are less intense and more akin to a flavoured water, and then the caffeine. And one of those is just objectively good. The price as well is objectively good, a fourth one. So the price and the fact it dissolves completely, those are objectively good. The flavour being more like a flavoured water and the amount of caffeine are going to be either good or bad depending on which side of the fence you're on.
And that's why I think he could potentially do something.
Yeah.
Because, for example, when we did the G Fuel Doom, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They released one and it was 150 milligrams. Was that the Spicy Demonade? And then there was the BFG edition, which had more caffeine.
Yeah.
That was good, because you had a choice. I mean, I know they were limited edition, but I don't understand why companies don't do that. Imagine if, Sleek or
more.
G Fuel, they'd have standard version of this, 150 milligrams of caffeine. Then you've got G Fuel Intense.
Well,
250, 300 milligrams of caffeine. Similar price points. People will still buy, you know...
there exists caffeine-free pre-workouts and there exists caffeine-free G Fuel.
That's... Oh, yeah.
So that
Yeah, okay,
might be an option. I mean, I think... I can't remember, I was going to say something. Following on from what you were saying about the...
Caffeine amount.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that there are other things that distinguish it other than the amount of caffeine. So you could easily do that and get away with
apart from, take that idea away, what else would you change about that?
Nothing.
Apart from making the flavour stronger, which, again, is something we've said Tim doesn't want.
Yeah, nothing.
But you can change the caffeine amount.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be really good. And like I say, if you're just starting out in this world of getting into energy formula, trying to replace your carbonated drinks like Monster, Red Bull, and things like that, lesser caffeine version would be good. And again, I don't know what you could do with the name or anything, but it's one of those.
Yeah, just a light version or something like that. I agree.
So
I think that would be a good idea if that's easy to implement in terms of the formulation of it.
Yeah. Because that's what I mean. I wouldn't want Adrenalize to suffer because of the high caffeine amount. Like we said, it's good value. If you don't want strong flavors, it's perfect for you. It's really good. And like I said, if you're just getting into energy drinks, it's fantastic. But some people will frown at 300 milligrams of caffeine, especially if you're buying it for someone or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't necessarily know. I think that the argument would be that it's the responsibility of the consumer, and there are warnings on it that say about the high caffeine. It is the consumer's responsibility. However, you also need to consider that in the UK you need to be 16 to buy energy drinks. 16 still isn't an adult. 16 is a child.
Yeah.
So literally in the UK there's laws regarding the age of people who can drink energy drinks or buy energy drinks from the shops. The laws literally say, it's fine for children to drink them because 16-year-olds can buy them.
Well, I think they've been running Challenge 18, haven't they, on energy drinks?
Yeah.
You go into Tesco, you scan it, it's like you've got to look 18 to buy it.
Yeah.
You can be over 16 or over, but you have to look 18 to buy it for, any viewers not in the UK.
But
it's kind of how they do alcohol as well. It's like Challenge 25. You got to look 25 and prove to be over 18.
If you pretend that there aren't kids younger than 16 drinking G Fuel or Bang or Monster,
you obviously don't spend enough time out of your house.
No. And kids, they can smash a can of Monster. It's not good for them. It's 160 milligrams of caffeine. Same with G Fuel. It's not good for them. And kids are going to do what kids do. But this, with it being cheaper, it can potentially do more damage. And I get it. You can say, yeah, they can just take 3 scoops of G Fuel and they can. So I don't know how much of a conversation needs to be had there, if any. But in any case, the option of a caffeine-free or reduced caffeine, because we've not discussed having caffeine-free or reduced caffeine versions of anything else. However, everything else has always been stronger tasting and with less caffeine already. So it's like, what's the point of reducing it when a full
That's why I said the other
yeah.
way, you could have a company that does, G Fuel 2.0,
Yeah.
and it's 300 milligrams of caffeine,
Yeah.
because their regular one does 150.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say...
It's probably where the market will go eventually.
I'd say a half caffeine version probably isn't something I'd buy. However, what I would buy is a caffeine-free version. I'll tell you why. Because if I want a half caffeine version, I can just buy a tub of each.
Yeah.
And just use a scoop of each one.
Yeah, but then you're spending 50 quid.
Well,
you could just spend 25 quid again and have 150 milligrams of caffeine, which is then even more favourable than G Fuel, because all of a sudden then you're getting 60 servings for half the price.
Except if I've got my 60 servings of just what the caffeine-free version would let me do is have one of each and it's costing twice as much, yes, but it still works out cheaper than G Fuel because it's still only going to be, with
Yeah.
10% discount, it's going to be £45
But
for
then
60
it comes down to
servings.
convenience as well.
But hear me out.
Okay.
Flavour's twice as strong. If I have a tub that's 150 milligrams, I've got one scoop, it's going to be the same flavour. And for me, personally, one of the issues is the flavour. But if I had a caffeine-free version and I can do a full scoop of each one, I've just doubled the amount of flavour.
I get it. I get your version. I think it works both ways, to be honest.
Actually, no. Oh, mate. It's the same thing in it because I've just put 300 ml in. Just put 300 ml of caffeine in. So having it with half the caffeine would have the same net effect because I could just use 2 scoops of that instead of 1 scoop of each. So that would have the same net effect. You'd have more versatility because you could have it without any caffeine if you wanted.
Yeah. Again, it's something that because nobody's thought of it yet, or people have probably thought of it, but nobody's implemented this yet. And like I said, it's probably where the market will end up. Like eventually, you might even be able to specify the amount of, like you'll be able to tailor make how much caffeine you want in a tub, because it'll just be a tub going down a production line, showing 300 milligrams of caffeine. John.
No, I can't see that happening.
150 milligrams of caffeine.
It needs to be consistently. It needs to be consistently mixed and tested, and like spot tested and stuff. That wouldn't. I can't see that flying. To be honest.
Interesting points though.
You could homebrew it because you can just buy caffeine. You can buy powdered caffeine.
So you get the caffeine-free one. You buy the caffeine supplement, and you just add in however much you want.
Yeah, you can microdose caffeine. Just have a tiny little scoop and just put the caffeine in, which is something I played around with before these drinks were massively popular. I used to get the BCAA powders or squash.
Just add a bit of caffeine in.
Yeah, or protein powder when I was going to the gym before I got the stuff at home. I microdose the caffeine into my other things and.
Or if there was like less, if you had a pre-workout that tasted great but was only 100 milligrams or 150 milligrams,
yeah, you can,
and you wanted a bit extra.
Yeah, stretch it out a bit. Yeah, I've still got a pot of caffeine somewhere that I used to. I've not touched it in years though, just cause, well, since we've been reviewing everything, I've had no need to because I've always had tubs of everything.
Yeah.
Lying around.
Interesting points anyway.
Yeah.
Like I said, thanks to Tim for sending us the tubs.
Absolutely.
We have been enjoying them. Let us know in the comments. It's definitely something worth talking about. Would you like to see half caffeine or double caffeine, whether it's from G Fuel, Sneak, Wraith, Adrenalize, X Gamer, Razor Wire, everything that we've seen and done on the channel so far. And let us know what your intake is a day. That'd be an interesting one, finding out people's different intakes.
Yeah.
Because you'll have some people like me who take 160 milligrams a day. There'll be people out there who are on 450, 500 because they're smashing the gym.
Yeah.
They work either a manual labour job or in a warehouse and they're just lugging stuff all day. And then they want to go to the gym and still look good, vanity gains and all that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let us know in the comments and we'll try and address them as and when you send them and potentially monthly review.
Yeah, I hope Tim's appreciated this video and we've hit all the points that he would expect us to after so long. Because I've been feeling, I said to John, I want to do this video as soon as we can because it's been in the back of my mind and I've been dreading Tim asking for an update because I feel like we owe it to him because he sent us all these things. Like he sent us the products twice and he sent us 6 entire tubs altogether. So I mean, obviously we do owe it to him and we wanted to do the video justice and not
didn't just want to do a 10-minute video. It's almost a feature with X Gamer and things like that. We've done before, Sneak versus G Fuel, all that sort of stuff. So
and if you do buy it, use code EFR10 so Tim knows you've that it was worthwhile sending us 6 tubs of energy drink to generate some sales and get some feedback, and you save yourself 10%. I don't know if he's got better codes with other partners, but by all means go on Google and see if he has. If you want to try and save an extra 10%, I don't know if there's people out there with 20%, but
Exactly.
I can't even remember if we do get a kickback off it or not. I think we might do, you know. But yeah, don't let us getting a kickback influence your decision.
No.
If you can't find a better
We
code,
both have
then
full-time jobs.
yeah, we don't.
Anything we get is a bonus, but it's not needed.
Yes, exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So on that note, it's time to end. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.